Webinars are online events, video presentations, workshops, seminar training, or classroom lectures delivered via a webinar software. This software enables presenters and attendees, or the presenter or host and attendees, to share a variety of documents ranging from voice notes, videos, short notes, PDFs, and all that. Webinars have plenty of uses, often business related, but the most striking one, or the most important use of webinar, is to educate and engage your audience. Welcome back to my channel. This is Francis Asia, and I'm all about teaching you how to make money online and everything that surrounds making money online. And if this is your first time of hitting this channel, I would indulge you to like this video, subscribe, and smash that bell notification icon so that whenever I drop hot content like this on how to make money online, you would be among the first to be notified. And if you're a returning viewer, I want to believe that you've actually liked this video and you've subscribed to this channel, so you are also super welcome. Let's get right into it. In this video, I'm going to teach you how to start a webinar, how to set up a webinar, and also how to make money from webinars. What makes webinars actually effective is because it gives this two-way communication opportunity whereby the host or the presenter and the attendees can easily share information, be it videos, be it documents, be it voice notes, be it audios, and all that. And they do this in real time. And your audience could range from your colleagues, your existing customers, your new customers, or your students who want to learn one or two values or get one or two skills from you. And the primary purpose of webinar is the marketing side. Okay, because the importance of webinar is not just to teach alone. There's also a way you can actually earn through your webinars. And in terms of the marketing aspect of webinar, is very, very important to use the approach of trying to use webinar to create more brand awareness, teach people and enlighten people about your product, and also establish authority in your industry or in your niche. So having said that having talked about that short intro about webinar, let's look at how you can set up a webinar. There are so many steps involved in setting up your webinar successfully. Okay, without taking much of your time, let's head right into it. The first one is select a webinar tool. Picking a webinar tool that is right for you boils down to your goals, your budget, the features that you want to have in your webinar software. Okay, then as well as the value you want to have with your webinar tool. These are the reasons these are the factors that will influence your choice of webinar tool. Okay, and there are both free version, free trial version, and the paid version. Be it free version or paid version of webinar software, all have comparable functionalities, though the free one will have a whole lot of limited features. It's only when you scale up, or when you go up to the paid version, that's when you have a wide range of features made available to you. So there are so many webinar tools out there. I will give you some of the examples, which are Zoom. Zoom is free. Webinar Ninja is paid actually. Then Webinar Jam is paid also. On24 is paid webinar tool, but it gives you a free trial version which you can actually use for some time to test out stuff, and if you are cool with it, you can now upgrade to the paid version. Then the next one is Zoho Meetings. Okay, Zoho Meetings is also a very good webinar tool you can actually use to set up your webinars and all that. That's all for the step one under setting up your webinar. Then the step two is identify the goal of your webinar. Okay, webinar have so many uses, so it's now left for you to ask yourself, what do you wish to achieve with your webinar? Do you want to get more leads? Do you want to get more students, or teach more students about a certain skill or about a certain content? Or do you want to enlighten your existing or new customers about a particular business brand and all that? Or do you want to sell a potential idea or offer to your customers? And whenever you've arrived at the goal of your webinar, it's highly important that you choose a corresponding key performance indicator, a KPI, to actually track the success of your webinar. So the next step on setting up your webinar is attend other webinars. The best way to plan and create and also host a successful webinar is to scope your competitors. Look at your colleagues in the same industry or other businesses in the same industry that use webinar to educate or to sell to their audience. Check out the things they do very well, and also try to see a way to model what they do. Whichever webinar that you attend or that you want to model has the same or has similar goal as what you would want to achieve in your own webinar. Okay, so that's step number 3 in setting up your webinar and having a successful webinar experience. Okay, so let's head on to the step number 4, which is plan and outline your content. After you've arrived at the goal of your webinar and what you really want to achieve with your webinar presentation, is the next point, or the 4th step, is for you to outline your content and have a framework which shows the phases of your webinar. Try to create a flow, how you move from phase 1 to phase 2 to phase 3, depending on what you wish to achieve or depending on what you wish to present on your webinar. So that outline and framework is very, very important. So you need to have a proper and identifiable outline for your webinar presentation, because it will help you in the next step, which is step number 5, designing your website presentation and slides. So with the outline which you've actually established earlier on, is now at this point that you start designing your proper webinar presentation and slides. How do you want your audience to move from a particular thought to another, or a particular content or information to another? Make it smooth, make it engaging. Okay, so creating your presentation, you have to think about the audience first. How would you arrange your slides or your presentation so that it can easily be understood by your audience, or there will be a smooth flow of thoughts and information from one phase or from one session of your webinar to the other? So the next step is marketing and promoting your webinar. You've actually done the most critical work up front, setting up your webinar, identifying the goals, having your outlines, and designing your slide, and so on. However, no one is going to understand or know the relevance of this virtual event unless you market it to them. So it boils down to webinar marketing, so that you have wide audience to know about this awesome virtual event you are setting up. Because the more persons that are aware of this webinar, the more audience you are going to have, and the more success you are going to get hosting your webinar content or your webinar event. Webinar marketing doesn't have to be complicated or stressful. All you have to do is to create event posters, social media visuals, and as well as event timeline, informing your attendees of the agenda of your webinar. Very important. So once you've gone through step 1 to 5, make sure that you do the proper marketing and promotion of your webinar event so that you can achieve so much success hosting your webinar. Okay, so now we are done with the 6 steps that you need to set up your webinar. Is the time for how do you make money through your webinar. Okay, so there are 3 major ways, not 4 actually, 3 major ways you can actually make money through webinar. And the first one is to offer a paid webinar. Your attendees can actually pay some amount of money to be in your webinar. But however, before you could get to this level, make sure that already you have a platform, or you have a whole range of audience whom you've actually given lots and lots of values in the past, because that's the way they will easily trust you to give good value on your webinar, and they will easily pay to be on that webinar. But if you've not have any, or if you've not had any prior connection with this audience, the best thing to do is to offer a free webinar. Then at the end of that webinar, you can offer a paid product or a paid service to them, and which is the second way you can actually make money through webinar. The first one is paid webinar. The second one is to offer a paid product or a paid service at the end of your free webinar. Okay. The third step through which you can make money doing your webinar event is promoting your products or your online courses or your online videos or your online ebooks and all that. So it depends on the product that you have, be it digital products or physical products or even services. You have to use your webinar to promote it. It could be in such a way that you do a free webinar whereby you educate them and enlighten them on the importance of what you're about to upsell to them or what you're about to promote. So that way your audience actually, after they've gotten so much value from your webinar, they are now willing to, freely or easily buy from you or buy your products or buy whatever offer you present to them. So these are the three ways you can actually make money through your webinar: paid webinars, offering of products at the end of the webinar, and promoting your product, be it digital or physical products. Okay, so above all, once you want to do anything concerning webinar events, be it setting it up and trying to make money through webinars, the very, very important thing to do or to consider first is to put your audience first. Consider them first. What do they wish to gain? What are their pain points? And what content would they want to get from you? The success of every webinar or any webinar depends on the audience. Once you're able to serve the audience what they really need or what they care for, or you strike their pain points or you look at their demands, that's the way you could actually come out with a very successful webinar event. But if you go on to present what you feel or what you think the audience want and not actually what they want, trust me, you're not going to come out fine with that webinar event. And don't forget, at the end of every of your webinar, always seek for content and feedback from your audience, because that's the way you can actually see what you've done right and see the things you've done wrong and tend to improve in your subsequent webinars. Okay, so that's how to go about it, and that's how to make money setting up, starting up, and dishing out your webinar event. So if you've been with me on this video up to this moment, I would like you to like this video, subscribe, and smash that bell notification icon so that whenever I drop content like this on how to make money online or every other thing surrounding making money online, you would actually be among the first to benefit from it. So thank you for watching and staying with me up to this point, and see you in my next video.